before we get into today's show, if you want the Buckeyes to beat that team up north this year and snap the streak, like the video on today's show. We have the data. The more likes we get on a video, the more likely it is that thing happens. So don't be the one that jinxes it. Like the video for me, please, and thank you. On today's show, we're breaking down the PFF college football rankings, not the teams themselves. Buckeyes were number 1 in that, by the way, which I find interesting given where they ranked in the position groups. But top 10 teams at each position group and the top 10 players at each group as well, plus pure head coach rankings at the very end of today's show. So we'll go in depth on each of these, but just first the overview. Quarterback, Buckeyes check in at number 10 overall. Running back, maybe not a huge surprise given the sheer losses. They are not ranked in the backfield, at running back, Receiving core, which is wide receivers and tight ends, number 1, which, again, shouldn't be a huge surprise there. The offensive line is not ranked. There are some other Big Ten teams that did crack that group. The defensive line is also not ranked, which, again, they lost their 4 starters. So, again, that's not maybe the most surprising thing. Linebackers, number 7. I think you can argue they should be a little bit higher there. Defensive backs, they check in at the number 5 spot. And head coach, Ryan Day, number 2 overall. We'll go in depth on each of these groups, why that's the rating, what I agree and sometimes disagree with as well. But overall, grade the Ohio State Buckeyes current roster. I don't think it's as good as it was last year because that won the national championship, best team ever, right? Blah blah blah. Like it was crazy loaded. I do think it's still a very good team. I'm going A-, B+ at worst, and it's probably still an A- there. So how do you feel? Sound off at the pinned comment of today's show. Grade the current Ohio State football roster, A, B, C, D, or F. So the top 10 quarterback position groups. And my big issue with this ranking for Ohio State overall, and just PFF's rankings in general, they kind of just went too much emphasis on the backups. Like, SMU is really number 2. Like, I like Kevin Jennings. He's not a top 5 quarterback in college football for me. So we're just going to rank him super high because we like the backup? Like, okay, like he's a 60. Tyler Van Dyke's been a career backup. Like, he's not good. Arizona State, Florida, Clemson, like, okay. Miami's 6. Really, though? Is Carson Beck actually even good? Penn State's at 7. Like, I kind of think that's kind of low. Auburn's at 8 with a cast-off in Jackson Arnold. Like, why is Auburn ahead of Oklahoma when Oklahoma shipped out Jackson Arnold to get better with John Mateer? How does that make sense? Alabama and Ohio State are 9 and 10 because of just 5-star backups and stuff. So then why isn't Texas higher? I appreciate Ohio State being 10. I think there's way too much emphasis on the backups, who in theory never actually play a snap. A snap that matters, right? Here's what PFF's Max Chadwick wrote on the quarterback room. It's the same as Alabama's. Neither guy, this is Julian saying that Keynote's any starting experience, although which Keynote's does, but they each feature former 5-star recruits along with a former 4-star. So that's Julian Sam, Tavian St. Clair as the 5-stars, Keynote's as the 4-star. I'll be honest, I think when we look back at the end of the season, there is a chance top 10 was too low. And saying's him, and it should be top 5, top 7. Or he's up and down in year 1, and it's not top 10. I honestly just don't get the ranking, period. But I appreciate the respect for Ohio State, which, again, if we value depth, OSU should be high. I just don't think we should value depth as much. We should value the more proven commodities. Running backs. No Ohio State. Penn State's at 1, Notre Dame's 2. That certainly makes some sense. I mean, Singleton Allen is this year's Henderson Judkins. Like, it makes sense to be super high there. I frankly do agree with the Buckeyes not being ranked in the top 10. I think that makes sense. I am excited about James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson and that duo, and I think there's a chance that guys like Turbo Rogers and Sam Williams-Dixon and especially Bo Jackson make an impact. But I think just objectively speaking, they should not be in the top 10. At least not this year. Next year, different conversation. To the wide receiver, tight end, pass-catching rankings. Ohio State checks in at number 1 ahead of Auburn, which does have some great depth. There's some question marks about the who's throwing them the passes there. Chadwick said this is the 4th season ranking the top 10 best receiving cores in college football. The Buckeyes have topped the list twice now, and they've never placed outside the top 3. That makes sense, right? PFF ranked Jeremiah Smith as the number 1 wide receiver. In fact, they argued he was the best player in college football. You could maybe even argue that Carnell Tate should push his way into the top 10, but there are some really good underclassmen like Ryan Williams and Can Coleman that kind of bring that down a little bit. So, and I also don't know if that's the right Clemson receiver, frankly. I kind of wonder if that should be Antonio Williams, but I digress. Do you think that Jeremiah Smith, because I think this is a yes, by the way, is Jeremiah Smith the best player in college football? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments of today's show. It makes sense if you have the number 1 ranked receiver and top 15, 20, whatever, number 2 in Carnell Tate, and the number 3 tight end in Max Clare, that you're going to be super high. I have said it before, I am super hyped about Carnell Tate this season. I think he's going to be highly impactful. I think he's going to have a great season. If the raw numbers dip a little bit, I think the quality is going to go up. I think he's going to be awesome this year. Offensive line-wise, no Ohio State. Oregon's 5, Iowa's 6 in the Big Ten of Big Ten schools. Penn State outside there as an honorable mention. Some of you might be surprised. I think there is potential. I kind of agree. I am a little bit worried about this unit. I don't think maybe what benefits the Buckeyes the most is that there might not be a gaping flaw, a glaring flaw in this offensive line. That there isn't a horrible player out there. And that, it often ends up being you're as good as your worst offensive lineman. I just worry if there's enough true top-end talent. Oninawa shed some weight. That he might be the X factor. If he ends up being good, this offensive line I feel a lot better about. If he has some struggles in pass pro like I did at Rice, I might have some real flaws there and real concerns. I know it's summer, but this Ohio State hoodie is on mega sale over on Fanatics. Was $85, now it's $35. So stock your winter wardrobe early. Go to chatsports.com/OSU hoodie. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show to get your Ohio State hoodie on clearance right now. I kind of don't think any of us are going to be surprised the Buckeyes don't crack the top 10 defensive linemen. You lose 4 starters, and it's so based on returning players, it's hard to be overly confident in that group. I do think the interior D-line will be good. Edric Houston, Caden McDonald. I think Jaquez Carter could be a little surprise player, too. I like the addition of Bo Atkinson. I think can Yada Jackson, Caden Hurry. Maybe C.J. Hicks have breakout seasons, but there's a lot of I think it could happen. There's a lot of potential, not a lot of provenness. So top 20, they could probably still crack that list. But top 10, I just think there's more proven returners that justify the Buckeyes not being in the top 10. We are just 125 subs away from 11,000 here on the Ohio State Football Report. Help us get there. We'll have some new hosts coming aboard. We'll have watch parties this season. So don't miss out. YouTube.com/GoBucks. Let's talk linebackers here. And this is the first time I feel like you can justify the Buckeyes being higher. Texas I get. LSU I get. Pitt's actually got 2 really good football players. Georgia, Notre Dame, I'm actually not sold. Those guys are better given their losses. Texas A&M's got Turian Yorkrow, who I like a lot. I think 7 is probably too low for Ohio State. Even if it's only 1 or 2 spots. If we're factoring depth so much on quarterback, why aren't we factoring as much like linebacker, where I think the Buckeyes have really good depth? Sonny Styles, I think, is a stud. I think he's going to be a star. I love him. Arvell Reese is a very good starting player. I think Garrett Stover, Peyton Pierce, those guys could start on other teams. Plus, PFF ranked Sonny Styles 6th among their top returning linebackers. Kansas State's got Austin Romani's actually a good player. 2 pick guys, I get it. But he was ahead of C.J. Allen and Drake Bowen. So maybe the Buckeyes should be like 2 spots up. Defensive back-wise, the Buckeyes check in at number 5 behind, I think, some expected names. I think we're a little high on Texas, actually, a little bit too high. Alabama's 2, Notre Dame's 3, Clemson's 4. Caleb Downs, by the way, and this is why they're number 5, is the top-ranked safety for PFF, which is a no-brainer to me. It's also 3 straight Big Ten guys, by the way. Coy Parrish out of Minnesota, who's awesome, very talented young player. Dylan Thiedemann, who I think is the 2nd best draft-eligible safety. To put this in perspective with Caleb Downs, again, being ranked as the top safety by PFF, there are 4 players since they've been doing this who have multiple years as a top returner. So not just 1 year, but 2 years. So these are guys that were basically awesome as freshmen and were top ranked as sophomores and juniors, or they went back to school for some unknown reason, but it's all been early guys. Trevor Lawrence, Derek Stingley, Brock Bowers, and now Caleb Downs. That's a hell of a grouping. That's like number 1 pick. Everyone knew he was a superstar. Top ranked corner. Best tight end ever. Like that's elite grouping there for Caleb Downs. We will get to the top 10 head coaches, according to PFF. Before we get to it, where would you rank Ryan Day among all college football head coaches? Let me know in the comments of today's show. Ryan Day checks in at number 2. I guess I'm okay with Kirby Smart being number 1. They both got the titles. Kirby had the head-to-head. Dabo's got the title, so you're going the active championship winners. I get it. Oregon, Dan Lanning at 4, Marcus Freeman's at 5, Steve Sarkisian's at 6. I kind of want to see Lanning and Sark do more before I rank them so high. My big issue here, just the rankings overall, outside of Kurt Cignetti, and recruiting matters, obviously, isn't this a little bit like who recruits the best? Especially at 4 and 6. Like, I do like those guys, but like, this is a little, like, is James Franklin really a top 10 head coach? Is he actually? I'm not so sure on that.